Part 8b, Control Description and Evaluation Forms. In this part we would like to introduce you to the forms for control description and evaluation in DPD-EASY. Let's switch to one of the forms. At the top you will find the form header with the basic information about the setup. In the Introduction Date field, you can specify when a control was set up. Under Contact Person you can select a contact person. The list of contact persons is maintained in the menu item Master Data Contact Person. In the Next field, describe the control. Next, you specify what goals the control should achieve. A control or measure only makes sense if there is a risk that is monitored with it. Therefore, a description of the risks must be entered in this field. In the next two lines, data protection documentation related to the control can be selected and displayed. These were previously entered and described in the menu item documentation. The type of the control shall first indicate whether it is a prior check or a downstream check. In a second step you document the frequency of the check. In the following area, a risk assessment is carried out on the premise that no control has yet been implemented. In doing so, the warranty objectives set out in the data protection principles and the data protection laws are assessed individually using control questions. If a warranty objective is not affected by a risk, it can be deactivated in column C. The explanations for the assessment of the risk impact and the probability of occurrence can be found in lines 22 and 23 of the form. The evaluation of the control questions is displayed on the right side in a risk matrix. The summary can be found in an overall risk matrix in line 118. In the next area, on the left side next to the overall risk matrix, the documentation of the control test takes place. The first step is to check whether the control design is suitable for detecting, preventing, or correcting errors in good time. In the second step, it is checked whether detected errors have really been corrected. When assessing the person carrying out the inspection, it must be checked and documented whether the person carrying out the control has the necessary qualifications to be able to carry out the control effectively. The next step is a random check of the controls of the past carried out by the auditor to identify possible failures of the control. Finally, the overall result of the control test is documented. The procedure for control testing is based on the requirements of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX. A check whether a control is functional should be carried out regularly for essential controls, therefore a control cycle is stored here, the length of which can be adjusted in customizing. In the next area, the risk assessment takes into account the implemented control. Before this is performed, the filter should be updated, as only the warranty targets selected in the upper area should be displayed, and should be edited. In contrast to the risk assessment in the upper area, two evaluation columns are displayed here for the probability of occurrence and the impact. In the first column you will find the rating from the upper area. In the second column you can enter the new rating. This should never be worse than the first, as this would mean that the control would increase a risk. The overall risk is displayed graphically in the risk matrix at the end of the form. The risks should best be found in the yellow or green area. This form also specifies a review cycle for the control to ensure that the description of the control is always up to date. End Part 8b.